Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the fastest Terran player in the world. In the blue, it's Team Liquid's Clem. But he's up against the player ranked #1 in the world by Dark. The final boss in this finals. It's Dark. A best of 5 Terran versus Zerg showdown. The best players from their entire regions. Recent champions looking to prove themselves yet again. And that means we're going to start things off strong, hard, and fast. My favorite way to start things off, besides begging you for likes, and if you haven't made it there yet, it'd be awesome if you could subscribe. And Jimmy, what are we? He's got 2 ranks. 1,362 likes on this video, on this cast. And I'll cast another one, and I'll probably do it anyways. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far, and hopefully it's about to get a little bit better, because here we go. The drones are fighting. The bunkers are dropped down. Clem trying to build a bunker wall, but Dark pulls the drones off the line. He's not having it. The workers come off the line and rise up against the Marines. Unfortunately, the Marines on the high ground are making things difficult. 5 drones dead. 6 and counting. And the Marine count is so damn high. The drones will eventually get the Marines, but at what cost? And even that statement was untrue. 9 drones slaughtered. And Dark, well, he got a queen. Did he get a second one? No. A command center at the back. The Zerglings looking for the surround. Another Marine pops out. There should be enough Zerglings, as some of the Marines were already softened up, but slipping through the mineral line there, getting every last Zergling they can. And oh my god. This guy. Clem survives with 3 Marines despite the Zerglings. He just kind of a leisurely stroll through the mineral line. Makes it too difficult for the Marines to challenge it. So now we're in one of the most odd scenarios. It's been a while since I've seen a game quite like this, as now Clem has literally nothing at home. In fact, now he has 2 Zerglings in his base, which is going to complicate things. That seems like an unforced error right there. So Dark just has a tendency. He paid off whoever was working the depot in Rich Vespine, and they left the door open for the Zerglings, which is the very small, narrow opportunity that Dark has to make up some of that economic ground. As he lost so many drones, he kills 2 SCVs and delays the command center, while of course having a full scout. And now Dark goes from an almost untenable position economically to a bad one. As even though Clem didn't have another expansion, having those Marines standing out at the front and being down on workers against someone with mules is not a great place to be. But now that he's delayed the command center at all, now that he's managed to sneak out some creep spread, more queens, the backbone of the Zerg, not the spine crawlers. Let's not be ridiculous. That means Dark has a chance to slap things back together. But it looks like Clem not going to give him much of an opportunity to rebuild, as he's going to bring a hot and heavy follow-up with the Hellions and Armory, and that means Hellbats. So right now there's 5 queens, actually. The best defense and economy, and sometimes offense, especially when Dark is involved. And Dark has been trying to sneak out. He's getting Zergling speed, which is not going to be particularly helpful here, but is the lowest hanging of the Zerg fruits. The queens. Where the queens are when this attack starts will be the most important. As having a concave effectively, those are unstim Marines. There's a lot of transfuses ready. The Hellbats are coming in, but the queens are joining up for the defense. And now Dark will see it coming. A couple Hellbats getting closer. The queen count is pretty damn high. Alright, and the base is taken out with no cancel. Hellbats are driven away, and actually I think Dark has mostly defended this. Losing the base with no cancel is quite a difficult scenario for someone who's already strapped for minerals. And losing a couple more drones is certainly not going to help either. The drones are yet again forced to fight against Marines, and yet again will lose a large amount of their number. 7 drones dead. And Dark still struggling as Clem builds a 3rd command center, gets double engineering bay. Does Dark have a roach for it? No. More Hellions coming across the Liberator. In position, Spore Crawler has to move, and if he loses the he's still going to lose some drones here. Clem pulls the Liberator back. And the Hellions, it's still 44 to 45 workers this entire time. Clem just working up his economy ever since the Zerglings slipped in. It has been a difficult scenario. The drop coming back. It's hard to see a path for Dark here that doesn't involve Clem stumbling, as he doesn't have the upgrades. He doesn't have the tech. He doesn't have the economy. But he does. Now, this is very important. He has queens. You're goddamn right. Okay. 9 queens, 10 Zerglings. But Stim is about to complete. No upgrades, no combat shield. No combat shield? No combat shield yet. Just the single tech lab. Clem's up 20 supply. Yeah, with that early pressure, with those Marines, like they say, that which doesn't kill you leaves you economically and physically crippled and incredibly vulnerable to follow-up attacks. Upgrades are like a minute and a half later. Almost a full upgrade timing. The Queens trying to chase down the Marines of the medevacs. Not even giving them the respect of stimming away. Picks up boosts. Manages to get everyone. The creep spread's pretty good. Hellbat's over to the north side. Another double drop headed out. And if Dark can hold till his 1-1 and baneling speed is done, well, he survives to the next wave. It doesn't get much easier past that, but he will. Oh, a single Marine gets out. He stims it, of course. And it's actually going to find several drone kills, which will keep Dark busy for long enough for the Marines to gun down the Queens. And the Frenchman is cutting down the Monarchy. Oh, Widowmine does terrible, terrible damage to both sides. But the tie goes to the leader. And right now, Clem easily cutting down the Queens and taking a decisive victory in game number 1. The 2 racks comes through, and even though he's not able to end the game, he puts himself in pole position to do so. Clem with a classic cheese. A cheese almost as old as Clem is. Well, actually probably older. I think people have been bunker rushing since before Clem was born, being several years younger than StarCraft 1. He's not that young, all right, despite the kid. But Dark, he saw it coming. He had the response, but Clem's micro and his Marines was just too damn good. Against most players, they see that many drones and they panic. Like, oh my god, he's taking... I mean, is this worth it? Clem's like, all right, I'll just kill 7-8 drones. And then all the Zerglings, slowlings, speed challengelings, really do struggle there. But that puts Clem at a pretty comfortable 1-game advantage to start things off as we go into Amphion. Doing the barracks on the Reaper Cliff to be able to jump down the express lane for Reaper employees only and for Lost Colossi is what that area is used for on a regular basis. Occasionally, you'll see 1 or 2 Colossi in the rare opportunities to see Protoss in the later rounds of tournaments, where they'll just step down and walk right into the enemy army, which is not ideal. Pro tip. Actually, I'm not 100% sure Colossi can fit in that area. Despite their name, they're relatively agile. Not important right now. All right, we're not discussing the geometry of units, but instead the trajectory of these builds, where Dark is going. He's thinking about the 3 base, but this is a map where there's only really 1/3 base to take, which means Clem's over here making things difficult. And he's going to go for the gas gasser. Clem preemptively sends the Reaper back. He's going to fight the SCV, going for the extractor. Clem trying to body block the extractor, because if there's a unit nearby, you can't actually build it. The drone has regenerated. The SCV, the dance continues. Will they, won't they? Meanwhile, Brenda bounce. And Clem has delayed this 3rd base. This is incredibly annoying. This is much more than like... Oh no, he's dead. The SCV, okay. So, speaking of geometry, at least he gets revenge for that. The extractor and the gas gasser itself is technically larger because it has to go over the top of a gas gasser. So when there's a unit nearby, it means something's in the way. So that is what Clem was using and abusing there. And obviously, if he's got an SCV, you can't just slap down your hatchery, because that's how... Oh my god, that's just rude! Well, he gets a creep tumor. He got the initial drone. Clem got everything he wanted in the early game here for very minimal cost. He's doing this wall off near the mineral wall again. That I'm still kind of... I guess it's working. Yeah, I mean, can't you just walk up with Zerglings if he does this? Well, here we are. So the answer does seem to be yes. He does have Hellions out, so... I do wonder whether that vulnerability is quite worth it. But the Zerglings will get some of the Hellions. The Queens, he's just going to come in with the Reaper and a Hellion. Mostly for a scout, but knowing Clem, he's going to get like 7 drone kills. And the Reaper's still going. Bounces both Queens and a bunch of drones out of the way, because of course he does. And Dark is only at 35 drones right now. He's building more, but he had to build another round. And wait! The Reaper! Finally! Finally taken out by that singular Zergling, but still. Clem is not done. Oncologist Clem coming in, removing the tumors with surgical precision. God. As Dark is forced to just... He's trying to get away with it, but Clem is not giving him much breathing room here. This is so infuriating. I'm 1/3 Zerg myself, so seeing the way Clem... It's inspiring and disgusting, all at the same time. Third command center. Floating down towards the more generic 3rd, not going for the mineral wall 3rd. Double drop loaded up. Not quite full of Marines, as there was a bit of a hiccup in production earlier when the Zerglings got in. But otherwise, pretty comfortable number of them. And Clem is going to have a significant upgrade advantage yet again. And there's almost no answer. It looks like 2 to 3 Overlords will die. He actually targets the furthest one away. Gets 2. Almost finishes off the 3rd. Gonna pop to the other side of the mineral wall. Queens. Not going to let that happen so easily. Keeping control of the edges of the creep. Literally on patrol now with the medevacs. But the creep has been shut down. Most importantly, kept from getting over the mineral wall there. A wave of creep tumors, which just is target practice for Clem. Well, apparently he had one more than he needed, or exactly the amount he needed. A Lyote out here. A coyote that's lying to itself is what it's named after, obviously. It's a space coyote. In its natural habitat. Surrounded by hails of gunfire. Hell yeah, brother. Hydraless den for Dark. At least he got to lair tech this time, but Clem's gonna keep laying the pressure on. He's got siege tanks. Jammed in next to the rocks. And without Baneling speed, the Queens are good. Now, there's no 1-1 yet on the Marines, which means the Queens still have a chance. Hold the line, Susan! I've been holding this whole time! It's not GameStop! What does that even mean? I don't understand what you're saying. Don't worry about it. Well, the Zerglings get us around on the tank. The Banelings come down and it's enough. Clem pulls back, beaten back for now. And that will buy a little bit more time for Baneling speed. The Lyote still hanging out. Armory not done yet. And Dark has hell. Yeah, trying to become part of the Terran army there. The most important part of this game so far, in my opinion. Ah, yes. Wily Lyote, as the saying goes. Hydraless. In production. Dark still down 25 supplies. Clem. Oh, a huge counterattack for Dark. Trying to come across. Clem. Is he paying attention? Does he have what he needs to defend? The 4th command center is taken out. No cancel. And Dark has successfully bought the time to get to his 1-1 upgrades. They're completed now. And this will be the best opportunity for him to break out of this location. The Queens. Oh, pushing away the medevacs. Get off my creep! Well, unfortunately, the creep is pushed back pretty far. But now that the Hydras are out in double digits, it's going to be a lot harder for Clem to just walk up and get the damage done. As Dark is usually quite accomplished at keeping those Hydras alive. But the Marines just pushing their way forward. Even a single siege tank complicates things. Most of the medevacs running out of energy. Some of the rest running out of life. More Zerglings coming up as Clem keeps the pressure on. Knocks out another medevac. Looking for more. Baneling connects, but the Queens target fire onto the backline Hydras from the siege tank. And Dark is caught between a rock and a hard place. It's a massacre on the field. Dark plummets 50 supply. He tried to take the fight on the ramp, and the Marines just had a field day with it. It's a disaster. Clem guns him down and claims a second victory, putting him up 2-0. Not looking particularly good right now for the final boss. Clem just brings, like, unlike Maru, who's a much more technical late-game player, Clem will hit you hard and keep hitting you until you have to tap out. Like, from the first Reaper in SCV, or in the previous game, from literally the first Marines. He's already in your base, making life difficult. I guess enough training against Max Pax and Raynor has, it's just a different flavor of Terran versus Zerg. A much tangier one, a zestier one. Come back to a zest. And Dark hasn't yet been able to change gears to adapt to it. I think Dark is more used to your Korean Terran style of building up to this big push and trying to use that as a sledgehammer to break the Zerg. But Clem is just battering him early. Yeah, I know that didn't really work with the whole difference in analogy there, but consider this. Game 3 is on Alcyone. Alcyone? Google told me 2 different things. I think we landed on Alcyone on it, but it really depends. Alcyone. Probably not that. LC1. Don't we love the English language? Like and subscribe. 2 racks Reaper for Clem. Another build and another opportunity to keep the pressure on Dark. And so far, Dark unable to match it. All right. Reapers will be the choice. Command Center coming up behind. The timing of the Command Center will give away that this is just 2 racks Reaper. You can't get it that early if it was going to be 3. And if it's 3 racks Reaper, you got to take extra precautions. Clem not sending out an SCV this time, as this map you have 2 options for a 3rd. There's one that's preferred, but like on Amphion, you literally don't have anywhere else to go that isn't ridiculously far away, so you can really limit the Zerg that way. Alright, here we go. And the Queens will come out to voice their displeasure. Sir, this is the Hatchery Owners Association, the HOA, for further reference. And respectfully, I would like to formally request, and I've already filed a complaint with management. I've already filed a complaint, but the complaint says, could you fuck off? Like, Brenda, we're gonna get demonetized. It's not in the first 5 minutes, Susan. They don't care. All right, nobody knows. Famous last words. Those weren't my last words. I have so many more words. Well, how many words do you have now, brother? Not many. Oh, shit. Well, the Reapers, and they don't stop coming. He went with 5 of them. Not all of them able to heal. A grenade! They'll expect one of us in the wreckage, brother. I don't... The grenade's not doing amazing, but the hatchery will be canceled. And... So... The... Smartly done, taking down at least part of the mineral wall. Gets the hatchery up. So this is quite a commitment out of Clem. You can't just go for 5 Reapers and then hit every other time. You are going to have a vulnerability to big counterattacks, like the one that Dark is doing right now. Well, he's a little supply blocked, so he's waiting for the overlords, but the Roach Warren is done. And Clem, the rest of his tech, already a bunker on the way. God, the Reaper Micro is so perfect. Seeing the double gas here is such a giveaway. I think we need more bunkers, Clem. All right, he's building a Cyclone. He's taking this very seriously. Dark has not made a drought in quite a bit. Roaches, Ravagers, Zerglings. That's going to be the special sauce here for Dark if he's able to break through. Only 1 bunker for Clem. Dark is fully committed. Again, Dark is struggling for workers. This time, though, Dark is going to try to make sure Clem does as well, as opposed to playing catch-up here. Well, Cloak Banshee's on the way. The Ravagers are firing over the top. Stim is completed. Not that that's necessarily helpful. Obviously it's helpful, but that's permanent damage onto the Marine. They stim once. Oh, that's 10 damage across the board. The Roaches and Ravagers. There's the second bunker. But the siege will continue. A Banshee is about to complete. Are the Queens coming across? There are only 2 Queens on the map, so even then, there's a little bit of push-up micro. Banshee comes out. Not sure if Dark was expecting it. He backed off for a moment. Here comes Clem, but getting a little distracted by the cocoons, which have so much armor. And Dark comes in with the Zerglings. He waits until the moment that Clem moves out. Another wave of corrosive bile. But the SCVs were able to buy some more time. Breaking into the buildings is Dark, but the Banshee's still going to work. The Ravagers are in the main. Cloak is about to complete. He fires off a volley of corrosive bile, and it completes. as the corrosive biles are landing, but doesn't matter because right now the only anti-air, he fires off a wave and he's going for the SCVs, and so many SCVs have been slaughtered. The damage has been done here, and it looks like Dark will strike back. He gets one of the Banshees, the other one badly hurt, and Dark is back on the board. Oh my, Dark gets revenge. Those Reapers, just too much of an investment. And Dark is not gonna let Clem just sit back and relax after it. No, he's coming for him. And now it's 2-1. That's more like it. Dark wakes up and says, we're not letting this kid take my lunch money. Or my kid's lunch money in this case. Dark with his own Zergling at home. In fact, I'm pretty sure that this tournament, the North American Cup, is held during around lunchtime in Korea because there's about a 12, 13-hour time difference, and it's held at about 7. It's breakfast. It's breakfast. So Dark is waking up. Well, Clem is just up late. Okay, that's like normal gamer time for Clem. Like 3 a.m.? Psh, gamer time. In fact, that's breakfast for Clem as well. So the North American Cup lines up beautifully for both of them. Meet in the middle. Like, we're the North Americans, to which I say, you're looking at them. Like and subscribe. And, that's the extent of our participation. Sometimes astray. Game 4. Yes. Oh no. Nobody saw that. No, not again. Okay. Alright, it's fine. Alright, we're turning. Sometimes I get stuck. So far, quite a dynamic, but not particularly, late game series. Actually, I don't even think we've seen +2 upgrades finish at any point. The Amphion game, Clem was like halfway through them. But otherwise, the damage being done hard and fast. We've already covered that, so. So, this map, there are options for third bases, but the one that Clem is currently blocking is far preferred. Much easier to defend early. So, the SCV scout paying off for that. Try to chase down, but oh no, he's blocking the gas. That means the drone will die. Infuriating. Dark, when does he choose to place a creep tumor? It's literally one hit away. Go back and build a creep tumor. He does. Clem, thinking about coming in. Oh, Reaper doesn't quite get into position to block in time. So a small win there. Come back here, young man. Oh, SCVs. One SCV on the other side. Taken out by the Zerglings. Just 2 Zerglings. Reaper gets by the Queen. Third command center is on the way for Clem, because of course. He's got his starport coming up as well. No tech lab on the barracks, so we'll see if he ends up going for Banshees. Reaper got a solid scout. Hellion, but he gets the... Oh, it's like another Zergling or 2 got in and killed another SCV. It's gonna be a Liberator. The lowest hanging choice for still getting some damage done on the other side. Technically, they could take out Overlords, but it's more of a long-term process with how little damage they do. But they do technically have an anti-air attack. Unlike the good old days of early Legacy of the Void, when Liberators could straight up win the air fight and then siege up and counter the ground units as well. Now we just let the Ghost do all of that. Alright, Hellions darting by. He knows that Zergling speed is done, so a lot less likely to run by with the Hellions when the option for Zerglings is on the field. Without Zergling speed, though, there's nothing that can outright catch the Hellions. They just rely on their speed, so you'll see a lot more often those Hellion run-bys. As with the control of Clem, you could definitely make them worth it. But Dark has enough Zerglings to make that very difficult. The Liberator spotted and actually attacked an Overlord to the south, so Dark knows all about this. His Spore Crawler is a split second late. See if he ends up re-sieging it. The Hellions try to dart in. And the Liberator... Oh, get out of the way! Oh, no! Well, ends up picking up. He manually targets a drone right before the Spore burrows. But, Brenda? I don't like you guys. That's rude. Oh my god! What? Clem lifted his main command center. Oh, he's human. He just didn't even, he built his third command center so close. He lifted his main and his SCVs were long distance running. So that's a big win for Dark that he'll never know about. Oh my god, that is amazing. It looked weird for a second, like, what's going on? And Clem didn't even realize for a moment. And then he's like, wait a second. Well. So he is human. Some proof there. Or that's one of those big mistakes coded in to convince us casters that he's human. We've all been there. It's just some of us more than others. I love it, though. Yeah, you can see the effect that has on the income tab there. And now Dark, for the first time, is able to get to 70-something drones. He's going to get not just Lair, but Hive. Wow, that is a fast Hive. That is an obscenely fast Hive. Pre 7 minutes. Especially considering the amount of pressure that was put on early. It shows not a lot, but not a little. Like just a medium amount. Not great, not terrible. Alternative 4. The bases like that are called alternative 4ths until they actually start mining. In which case they graduate to become a 5th base. Because until they establish themselves. Well, the drop comes out. It's raining men, and down go the queens. Spore Crawler tries to re-burrow, but it's a little late to snipe off the medevac, and Clem keeping that pressure on. But Dark, does he have Roach speed? No. Roach and Zergling speed. Creep itself is a speed upgrade. It's all about getting around a little bit more quickly. A lot a bit more quickly, really. Ravagers, Vipers on the way. It's gonna give Dark a lot more opportunity. I can't get over Clem lifting his main command center. Amazing. It's not like... It hasn't really affected the trajectory of the game, but it certainly gives Dark maybe a little bit more breathing room than he expected. Dealing with 10, 15 less supply is always easier when you're preparing for the full capabilities of the army. And yeah, having a Hive. Ultraless Cavern is on the way. Ghost Academy nowhere in sight. Clem working to move over that 4th command center. Another alternative 4th. Well, that's a 5th base. No, when you expand this way, it's clearly a 5th base. Alright, that's the exception to the rule. Quite a big exception. It's just a rule. It's just a different rule. Marines. Roaches go out. Marines come in. You can't explain that. Dart's back. Sensor tower at the 4th base. Going to help the counterattack still come in so quickly. But any amount of warning, the Ravagers were actually blocking in some of the army. Clem trying to keep the pressure on, but Dark is maxed out. He's got Ravagers lings. He's got 100 Zerglings. All right, it took 4 games, but Dark is finally running on all cylinders. 3 more command centers on the way. The Vipers, he's just going for it down the center. Blinding clouds on the gap in the ramp. Breaking through the depots, but still holding the line. The siege tanks buffered so much, and Dark has lost so much supply already. Gonna kill some SCVs. He only gets 4 SCVs. Clem gets hit by a massive wave of corrosive bile. The Zerglings are in the main. The damage continues to be dealt, but Dark, he committed everything to jamming through that tiny choke point. He's even gonna get a couple more siege tanks, but that was not the decisive victory he was looking for. Jimmy, as exciting as it was. Yeah, Clem ends up killing way more gas and even more minerals in terms of resources. And that's usually okay if you get a huge amount. Like, if he got 30 SCVs and then lost that much, okay. But he lost... Clem plummets 11 SCVs down to 11 SCV lead. And he's still building more, which is actually kind of a mistake. You don't need 90 SCVs. In fact, you can't even really use them. It's always better to have too many than too few, but that line gets a bit blurred with Terran especially. Ghosts on the way. Dark, a failed attack, despite some damage. And that will allow Clem to fill in this late game army composition. And that's when things are going to get dangerous again. The Ultralisk, buffered by the Zerglings there, making it harder to close the distance. We already got Ghosts in production. Adrenal Glands just started. Actually, I think Dark forgot it. Considering that all the other Hive Tech upgrades and units are done, not having Adrenal Glands is definitely a mistake. A very common one, but a mistake nonetheless. The Medevacs will pick up what they can. The creep is extended to the doorstep. It's on the bottom of his ramp right now. It's on the front patio. 3-3, halfway there. Really for both sides. It's Carapace and melee attack, actually. Melee attack +2 for Dark. Clem, barely dodging the corrosive bow, barely giving it any respect. And is starting to clear out the creep, and the momentum shifting back towards the Frenchman. As Dark unable to find any sort of successful attack here. Clem sets up a siege line. As the Ghost behind, putting some turrets down there as burrowed infestors become more and more of a threat. The command centers, the orbitals walling off. The siege tanks, not enough to stop the Ultralisk from cleaving through the front. But Dark, he really squandered that early opportunity to do potentially deadly damage. He was going straight for the kill, and he missed. And now Clem has a great setup. How many command centers? He's got 6 orbital commands. He's building 2 more command centers, including 1 more orbital right now, and another planetary. Double-digit command centers. Just scattered throughout the field. Oh my. And just, well, Ultras over to the north side, cleaving through on the planetary. He may lose a command center, but there's literally a command center right next to it. He's not gonna lose it. He actually runs up to nearly point-blank range with the bio while the Ghosts line up their snipes from the back. And Dark, not even able to take out a base, gets a few SCVs, but Clem still has 70 of them. Dark is almost frantically sending units across the field, but it's not enough. He's not getting enough done here. Dark is not maxed out anymore. The income still in his favor. He just finished up a couple more hatcheries. He's got 85 drones. He's building mass ultralisks. These are, you know, Clem, kind of weird that they're all orbitals. There's not even one planetary out front there. But the Zerg siege will continue. But Clem is already getting high-sec auto-tracking, building armor, more planetaries, command centers, liberators. He's settled in. And Dark is going to have to settle down. He's not going to be able to break this position. As more and more ghosts hit the field, it's going to come down to the infestors and maybe even broodlords. Coming around this corner, there's still some ghosts down here. Lining up. Oh, I'm surprised he didn't line up any snipes on that Ultra, but he finds the shots. Knocks it out. Dark through in towards the third. Gets some SCVs. But of all the things to replace at this stage, SCVs are the easiest. 62 of them left. And Dark, there's no Spire. He's got no infestors. It's not getting any better. If he wasn't able to do the damage... Clem has been remarkably efficient. Only lost 2,200 to 5,000 gas. He's only lost 3 ghosts to 8 ultras. Fusion core is on the way. As the tech tree almost completed here outright for Clem. He's gotten all the Bronze League heroes and the top tier upgrades. Building armor, high-sec auto-tracking. So many command centers. 8 orbitals, 2 planetaries, 2 more command centers in production. He's lost several, but he's building more than he loses. A sustainable command center economy. Siege tanks in every nook and cranny. Just jammed in, making it difficult for the Zerglings to ever get the surround on them. The ghost count is so damn high. It doesn't look like Dark has any intent of playing the supreme late game style. The Infestor. But okay, well. 2 Infestors enter the production tab. But Clem has taken another base. He's almost gotten his entire half the map. Dark already has his, of course, but hasn't really been able to turn that into anything. I think it comes down to that attack at the natural. He really wanted to break through with the initial ultras, and it just didn't get the job done, and that allowed Clem the room to get this sort of composition. And he recognizes that Dark is just going to keep hitting him, so he just has to hold. Lining up more shots. The ghost count is so damn high. Ultra's looking for the surround, but the ghost sniping them down. Another wave. Doesn't even get the play. I don't think he's actually killed any of these bases at any of these points. He hasn't even forced Clem to replace them. 18 SCVs dead. Some Hydras on the field. Dark finding a weaker point over to the right flank as most of the ghosts went over to deal with the ultras. Command center taken out. No cancel. Actually, he doesn't have that many minerals, so that does hurt a bit. Caduceus reactor on the way. Advanced ballistics already done. Blinding cloud doesn't affect ghost snipe. And Clem takes the decisive victory. 3 games to just 1. Bringing us to our bonus Gumi game. Yes, I've had this Gumiho versus Hero game for a while that I keep forgetting about. So, Gumiho versus Hero. Completely different matchup, completely different players, but our anti-spoiler bonus. Yes, you thought Dark might turn it around, and then we could get a cheese in a game 5. No! Clem holds it down and knocks him out. Dark unable to really keep up this series. I feel like Clem is such a momentum-based player. Like, he can beat anyone. One of the only players in the world to ever challenge Cyril. Him and Oliveira. Dark has taken the occasional game. Not games, game. But he does not let up. And in this case, by not letting up, I mean he shored up his defenses so quickly that Dark literally couldn't find an angle. But we go in. Here on Dynasty, Gumiho versus Hero. Our most, I guess Amphion and Dynasty are most creative maps. This one encouraging a lot more early game shenanigans, because unlike Amphion, where you're kind of pushed away from your opponent, you literally have a mineral line potentially that you can fight over. Which does help out those with strong ranged units usually more. But not everything is designed for Terrans. Gumiho always with some creative choices, no matter the scenario. We saw Clem just do, while it was a variety of builds, they were all just purely near perfect execution of builds we've seen before. Whereas when I want to see something new, I look to Gumiho. Looking for Proxy Rax. Hero has been burned before and shot and had his knees broken by concussive shell marauders and chased down reapers and run after Cyclone. He's doing a Reaper wall on the low ground with the Cyber Core. That's quite a play. Meanwhile, the probe is gonna spot the command center. I'm not sure, because he didn't come in range of the SCV, so there's a chance the command center did not spot the probe. All right, there's a robo on the way, and I don't think that's just for defense. I think that robo is going to be building a prism. Oh my god, the grenade actually bounced the adept and kept it from getting another attack off, even though it went towards him. All right. Two cyclones on the way. So this is what it's going to be. The War Prism can help you dodge the cyclone lock-ons, maneuver into that location. The Cyclone's, of course, a great counter to pretty much every early game unit for Protoss, but quite clunky to use and relatively fragile. So here we go. Hero going to take issue with the gold base, and Gumiho going to do his best to defend it. It's going to be Medevac Cyclone versus Warp Prism Micro, which could go real sideways real fast. Alright, Warp Prism. Oh no. Gumiho heading across the map. Does he turn around to defend? He turned around for a moment. He said, you know what, it's too late. So here we go. It's base trade time. At like the 4-minute mark, at 4:20, blazing through the natural, recalls the Stalker, which is super sad, and now I think a huge mistake, because now he can't recall the main army, which creates an even more base trade scenario, where if Hero was able to recall these units, he could, after doing some damage, come back home to defend, but he panicked and recalled the Stalker at the front. The boys are pulled. 10 SCV's dead. But Gumiho's still getting some damage done, juggling to deal with the Stalkers. The SCVs are still chasing down the rep, may kill some more. The Hellions roasting the probes. A Viking dies to Adepts, which is like, I assume that's happened before, but I haven't seen it in a while. 17 SCVs dead. The probe count, well, he's still getting probes. Locks onto some Stalkers, saves the day with the Medevacs. More probe kills. Cyclones lock onto the Stalkers again, trying to get that last one. He can lock on. Oh my god, he's dodging the shots. The damage is done. Hero now has less probes than he started with. There's barely any HP between these. Dodging it with the Warp Prism here. Locks on, cleans it up. Meanwhile, there's still a Hellion. 26 probe kills. We're 5.5 minutes in. Oh, Gumiho's got it. I think that panic recall, that moment lost Hero the game. He doesn't know it yet. Oh my god, Gumiho just drops like 4 mules, just in case he weren't sure who was ahead. But the panic recall of a single Stalker instead of using it on the main army cost him all of his probes. He was never able to get enough going. And now, well, Gumiho as a siege tank, he's only got 3 Marines. So, I mean, there's a chance he can maybe use... Oh, the boys are pre-pulled. Yeah. There's just not enough. The SCVs. Well, the siege tank is doing a lot of that. Wait a second. Well... Huh. Wait a second. The single Cyclone, he just built 2 more commands. I mean, 2 more barracks. How is this game not over? He's going for the War Prism, but Hero wins! Oh my god, Winter, what are you saying? Clearly, Hero's winning here. The smiling assassin will lose his entire economy, but somehow, through the eye of a needle, slip the War Prism in to win the game. Wow. We just packed a whole series worth of emotional turmoil into a single game, which is Gumiho and Hero in a nutshell. So, on that dessert for our entree of Clem versus Dark, well, I hope you enjoyed. Hope this made your day just a little bit better. If you got the means of motivation, be awesome. Check out Patreon or YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free. For now, we're coming up on a year-ish of pumping up that like count by 1 for year 2. Well, no plans at the moment. We'll see. Suggestions up there. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Stay tuned.